from the betting capital of the world, giving raw and real breakdowns of mixed martial arts and recapping UFC events like no one else, with producer Marcin on the ones and twos and combat sports betting expert Effie. You're listening to Any Action Sportscast. Any Action Sportscast. So put your headphones on and let's take this podcast to the next level.
This isn't a podcast. It's a sportscast.
What is up, guys? We are back. It's your boy Effie with Any Action Sportscast, here to go over UFC Vegas 88. Tuivasa versus Marcin Tybura. Now we're back in the UFC Apex cage, and we're coming off another losing week, guys, where we lost 4 units at UFC 299, putting us at negative 18 units on the year. Can't get out of this slump, man. I can't put together a winning week on UFC bets. It's tough out here, but I actually feel good about this week's bets, about this week's card. I have a feeling that this is going to be the week we turn it around and get back on track. There is 14 fights on the card. We're back in the Apex. It's not the best card name value-wise, but there should be some pretty good betting spots, in my opinion, some pretty good fights and some exciting matchups. So I need your guys' help again this week. Let me know who you have in the comments. Are you taking Tuivasa, or are you taking the wrestler in Marcin Tybura? Let me know in the comments, and let's get right into the fights. In the main event, we have a heavyweight fight between Tuivasa and Marcin Tybura. Tuivasa currently is a favorite at minus 120 on the money line, while Marcin Tybura comes back at plus 100. Now, this is a pretty easy fight to break down because whoever wins this fight is going to look like they're minus 500. We have a classic striker in Tuivasa versus grappler in Marcin Tybura. On the feed, 100% Tuivasa has the power to knock out Marcin Tybura at any moment in this fight. He obviously has that incredible power in his hands, but he also has really thumping, powerful low leg kicks. I think that's what's going to be the difference in this fight. On the other hand, we have the grappler, Marcin Tybura. This dude can take Tuivasa on a one-way ticket to Suplex City. That is a possibility. The grappling for Marcin Tybura is 100% superior than Tuivasa in this fight. A pretty one-dimensional fight, whichever way this fight goes. I got to go with Tuivasa in this fight, man. I know he has fallen on rough times recently on a 3-fight losing streak. And while that is bad, what I think is worse is the amount of damage he's taking, man. It's insane. He's not only getting knocked out, he's getting sent to the next dimension, man. He is taking a ton of damage in his career. Man, I just feel like if Marcin Tybura isn't able to utilize that grappling pretty early on in this fight, he's going to get sparked. Like I said earlier in the breakdown, man, whoever wins this fight is going to look minus 500, whether it be Marcin Tybura putting Ty down and keeping him down and pounding him out from there, or if Tuivasa does catch that chin, if he does accumulate enough leg kicks on Tybura to immobilize him and just, make him a sitting duck there. I got to go with Tuivasa. Like I said, I'm going with him via knockout. One thing I will say, though, we're filming this on Wednesday. Dude, Marcin, go on his Instagram. Go on Marcin Tybura's Instagram and check out this fool's haircut. And let me know if you think that that's someone you want to be betting your money on. I'll just go as far as to say as that's not someone I want to be betting. So, yeah, Marcin Tybura's got the Inglorious Bastards halfway shaved, halfway having hair on his head haircut. It's absolutely insane. I think Tuivasa catches him. I think he catches him in that first or second round. I'm going Tuivasa to knockout. Up next in the co-main event, we have a fight between Bryan Battle and Ange Loosa. Bryan Battle comes in as a favorite at minus 180 on the money line, while Ange Loosa comes back as the underdog at plus 155. Now, I think that line is approaching an area of where it can get too wide for me to touch, but at this point at minus 180, I still like it, man. I still like Bryan Battle to win this fight. I think that he will max out before the fight starts. Around minus 200, I do expect some more money to be coming in on Bryan Battle throughout the week. But yeah, man, this one should be a pretty good fight, man. I'm kind of surprised they're giving Bryan Battle a co-main event slot in this fight. But I can see why, man. We saw him on Ultimate Fighter. He's a very good striker, very good kicks. That's my favorite thing about Bryan Battle and the way he fights. He has very quick leg kicks, very good speed on them. He can go to the body, he can go to the head. It's just that, at this point in his career, you got to be blind not to know how to beat this guy. If you just watch Bryan Battle fight, the key to beating him is wrestling him. You got to be able to take this guy down and keep him there. We've seen him getting taken down by much lower level wrestlers than, you would like to see in the UFC. Yes, we saw Rinat Fakhretdinov take him down and get around, 14 minutes of control time in that fight. Absolutely mauled him. But Rinat Fakhretdinov is one of the higher level grapplers in the division in the UFC, and it's more of an outlier to me. But we have seen him taken down by, lower level guys like Gilbert Urbina, in the UFC on the Ultimate Fighter cast house, stuff like that. But as far as striking, man, he should have everything here to really hurt and damage Lusa early in this fight. And Lusa, a very durable guy. He should be able to withstand the strikes from Brian Battle in this fight. And that's the thing with him. Like I said, the way to beat Brian is to wrestle him. And I don't foresee Lusa being the guy to go out there and, shoot takedowns over and over and over again on someone like Brian Battle. I think that Lusa is actually going to give Brian Battle the type of fight that he wants. And at plus 155, I don't see myself taking the flyer on the underdog. I think that I'm pretty confident in Brian Battle to win this fight. I'm surprised that line hasn't gone wider, I'll be honest, but it's hard to get behind a guy where there is a clear path to beat him. But like I said, I don't foresee Lusa being the guy to implement that game plan, wrestle heavy and clinch him up, take him down from there, or definitely not taking him down in the open mat. Give me Brian Battle to pick this guy apart, keep it upright, and really hurt this guy pretty badly. I can see Brian Battle being the minute winner in this fight, but I could also see him being the moment winner in this fight. So when you have that combination, I gotta feel pretty confident in Brian Battle. So give me Brian Battle to win this fight. I think he goes all 3 rounds. Lusa super durable. I wouldn't be shocked at a late finish from Battle, but give me Brian Battle via decision. And up next, we have the biggest favorite on the card. We have Kennedy Nzechukwu taking on Ovens St. Preux, OSP. And I'll be honest, before I start this breakdown, before I give you the odds, hand up, guys. I was shocked that OSP is still in the UFC. When I look at these cards, when I go into the tape, I always kind of look for something that sticks out, and this definitely stuck out to me. I was like, what the hell? OSP is still in the UFC. This is crazy. And then I look at the gambling line. I'm like, oh, my gosh, the books know what's up. So right now, as it stands, Kennedy Nzechukwu is minus 700, guys. OSP, the ancient OSP now, at plus 500. And yeah, man, this is going to be an easy, short breakdown. Kennedy's going to kill this guy. Kennedy is going to be able to knock out and finish Ovens St. Preux in this fight. The only thing that worries me is that we've seen Kennedy get one punch. We've seen him get in the UFC. That performance against Dustin Jacoby it's a tough look for sure, but the finish was questionable, man. I had money on Jacoby in that fight, and I was super happy the ref stopped that fight early because I'll be honest, that ground and pound that Jacoby was landing was kind of getting blocked. It was kind of landing on the arms of Kennedy. Man, that one punch right on the chin puts Kennedy down in that first round, and that's not a great look. But man, don't even start. Dustin Jacoby would kill OSP in the octagon at this point in their careers. He's a way much better striker at this point in their careers than OSP. OSP over the hill. I thought he was retired, honestly, guys. And there's nothing that he provides in this fight to me other than getting one shot, one lucky punch on Kennedy that I think there's a reason to back him in this fight, or to pick him at least. I'm going with Kennedy, not a hot take to pick the minus 700 favorite. I definitely think that he finishes OSP. I don't expect it to be early. He does take his time getting going. But yeah, man, I think he crushes him in that second round. We're in the small octagon cage, and this dude has a crazy reach. Both these guys are super big and tall and long, so there's way less, space and area to move around in the octagon, man. As soon as you start to exchange, man, someone's going out, and I think it's going to be the ancient OSP at this point. Give me Kennedy Nzechukwu, round 2 knockout. And up next, we have a women's fight. We have a rematch: Pannie Kianzad versus Macy Chiasson. And for this fight, Macy Chiasson comes in at minus 230 on the money line, while Pannie Kianzad comes in at plus 195. Now, this is a rematch, like I said, where Macy won the first one. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one. This and the other women's MMA fight, well, actually, the other one's actually a pretty good fight, but this one, relatively on the lower level of my interest on the entire card. I'm going with Macy Chiasson. I just think that she's a taller, longer striker here. And I really like how she uses her range more so than Pannie Kianzad. I've just never been really impressed with Kianzad. There's not one single area where I think that Macy will lose this fight. At minus 230, I'm not going to be touching it, but I do think that she's a safe play, man. I think that she wins this fight. I think it goes all 3 rounds. I don't foresee her finishing her in this fight. I think that it goes all 3. Like I said, give me Macy Chiasson to win via decision. Not crazy confident. Don't go betting a ton of money on that fight. If you do, man, good luck. And up next, man, a pretty good fight right here. We have Gerald Meerschaert, GM3, taking on Bryan Barberena. GM3 comes in at minus 225 on the money line. Bryan Barberena on the comeback at plus 185. And this is going to be at 185 middleweight. And we just saw Bryan Barberena fight at 170 in his last fight, where he looked pretty chubby and no abs, kind of floppy, not a great physique. And we max bet against him, man. We had, who was it? Who just finished this guy? Or not finished him, but who just won via decision? Muradov, Makhmed Muradov. We had 5 units on him at minus 250 to win 2 units, and we cashed that easy, no sweat. And now he's getting Gerald Meerschaert, another grappler where, at least when I put 5 units on Makhmed, I know that Makhmed is going to outbox this dude 100%, whereas Gerald Meerschaert, not the best striker. Obviously, the thing we know about GM3 is that he's a crazy submission threat, right? And Bryan Barberena has been choked before, man. He's been out-grappled before. by smaller guys, honestly. And I really don't understand this move up to 185. I'm pretty confident that Gerald wins this fight and strangles Brian Barrena at some point in this fight. It's just that his wrestling isn't the best. If someone like GM3 were to utilize his wrestling way more, he'd have much more success in the UFC than he already has. But man, GM3's jiu-jitsu is legit. It's top tier for sure, in my opinion. No disrespect to him. The striking is not there's not a gap in the striking. I'm going barely giving Gerald Meerschaert the striking advantage, but Brian Barrena 100%. The best area in his game is the boxing, is the hands. And he's going to want to keep this fight on the feet. If he does not want to see the mat on this fight at all, the mat is lava to Brian Barrena in this fight. But like I said, I think there's going to be a real size and strength disadvantage in this fight, considering that Brian Barrena was a sloppy, kind of chubby 170er, and now he's going up to 185. Obviously, he doesn't have to cut weight anymore, but man, unless he's on steroids or something, man, I really don't see how he's going to be able to stop Gerald Meerschaert from grabbing him. So give me Gerald Meerschaert to strangle Brian Barrena. I think he gets that submission in round 2. I wouldn't be shocked to see him getting the submission in round 3 because that's his key move, man. Everyone knows when GM3 fights, GM3 via round 3 is like an auto bet. But, I think he gets it done earlier than that. I think he gets it done within 10 minutes. Give me GM3 to submit Brian Barrena in that second round. And now it's time for the fight of the night, guys. I cannot wait for this one. I am so excited for this next fight. We have Christian Rodriguez taking on Isaac Dalgarian. C-Rod comes in as the underdog at plus 155. Isaac Dalgarian, the favorite, coming in at minus 185. Now, I wish I would have gotten earlier on Isaac Dalgarian because I do think that he wins this fight. I'm going with the favorite at minus 185. I'm going with Isaac Dalgarian. And man, the reason why I'm so excited about this fight is because I'm a big wrestling fan, a grappling fan. I love when fighters are able to utilize that game plan and really control people. And Isaac Dalgarian's wrestling is legit, dude. This dude can grapple, man. It's just that there's a lot of things going in favor for C-Rod. For one, the experience. C-Rod's been in the UFC, fought higher level competition in the UFC. And Isaac Dalgarian, while he is, destroying the people he's fighting, the level of competition is nowhere near the same. Isaac Dalgarian is fighting a bunch of cans, and he's making them look like cans. Like no fault on him, man. He's treating them how he should be treating them, and just dusting people in that very first round. He's never been in round 2, never been in round 3. This guy is absolutely bonding people in that first round. He'll throw a strike. Overhand right, heavy strike to the head to get you to shell up and shoot a blast double single leg or something like that to get you down. And then from there, he just passes your guard and pounds you out or submits you, man. This guy is a problem on the mat. But so is Christian Rodriguez, man. I actually like Christian Rodriguez's grappling. And it's not bad, guys. Yes, he got taken down and kind of controlled by an 18-year-old Raul Rosas Jr., but then after Raul Rosas Jr., faded, it was C-Rod that was landing the takedowns. It was C-Rod that was winning the grappling exchanges. And we've seen him against people like Simon and Rosas, really come on strong as the fight goes. And that's worrisome when he's fighting someone in Isaac Dalgarian, if you're betting the favorite, who has never been past the first round, man. But I do think that Isaac Dalgarian will be the bigger, stronger guy. Christian Rodriguez is coming up a weight class because he kept missing weight in the previous weight class where, man, having that size advantage is really, evident when you watch him fight, man. He was like, man, he looked like 40 pounds bigger than Simon in his last fight. And against Raul Rosas Jr., Raul Rosas Jr. was 19, 18 years old, man. That's a young kid. Isaac Dalgarian is a full grown-ass man. Like, I don't know, man. I don't think he's going to be able, to just ragdoll Isaac Dalgarian like he has previous opponents. I think this is going to be the strongest, best grappler he's ever fought. So give me Isaac Dalgarian to actually win a decision after that first round. It's going to get interesting. And if C-Rock can actually take the first round, I think that Isaac has no chance in this fight. So Isaac is for sure going to have to come out strong and win that first round and get this fight down, because on the feet, I'm going with Christian Rodriguez to win the striking exchanges. I think I can see him winning the minutes on the feet, throwing more volume, throwing more variety of strikes. He can put together his combos better because, man, there really isn't that much tape of Isaac getting extended on the feet, man. Like I said, he gets close, pressures you, gets you down, and destroys people. So, yeah, I want to see him get tested. This is a great matchmaking fight. I'm so excited, man. Give me Isaac Dalgarian to win this fight via decision for the first time in his career. And up next, man, this is going to be a pretty easy one to talk about. We have Thiago Moises versus Mitch Ramirez. Thiago Moises, the biggest favorite on the card, it looks like, at minus 425. Oh, no, the second biggest favorite. Mitch Ramirez coming in as the underdog, making his UFC debut on short notice at plus 325. Now, I'm pretty familiar with Mitch Ramirez. He's a syndicate guy here in Vegas. I've seen him fight a bunch of times on the local series here. It's called Tough. And yeah, he's good, man. He's a powerful striker with those heavy hands, and he's finishing a lot of people that I've seen him fight, man. The thing is, the level of competition for sure goes to Thiago Moises. This dude has fought a way higher level of competition. Obviously, a UFC veteran at this point. And Mitch is on short notice where I really only foresee him winning this fight via knockout. The only way that I think Mitch could win this fight is if he knocks out Thiago Moises, and I don't think that happens, man. I think Thiago Moises is gonna, for one, win the striking exchanges here in this fight, and two, definitely be able to take down and outgrapple Mitch Ramirez. I mean, Thiago Moises took down Islam Makhachev. He didn't even just take him down; he like picked him up and dumped him. Like that was crazy. So yeah, man, I think that Mitch Ramirez is getting fed, to a slaughter here. I think it's just one of those scenarios where he signed short notice up against a killer, a guy that's been ranked before at 155, and is going to use that, obviously probably take a loss here. And then the next two fights, make his input in the UFC and hopefully, have a successful career from there, man. It's so cool. My buddy Shane's getting this guy Mitch ready for the fight. And it's cool seeing them go through that fight week. He's signing posters, getting everything ready for the weight cut. Yeah, man, I'm really rooting for him. So it's just that he's matched up with an absolute killer. When I saw that he was making his debut, Mitch, that is, I was so happy. I was like, oh, nice, hell yeah. Then I swiped, and it was him, his face next to Thiago's. I was like, wait, what? Like, there's no way they're giving him Thiago Moises for the first fight. And sure enough, he's taking this fight. So credit to him, man. He's a savage for this. I just think that Thiago Moises finished it in this fight. I think he's better everywhere. Lots going in the favor of Thiago Moises. One punch chance for Mitch, but I don't think it happens. Give me Thiago Moises via submission round 2. Up next, another really good fight. We have Mike Davis taking on Natan Levy. Natan Levy comes in at plus 270 on the money line, whereas Mike Davis comes in at minus 350 on the money line as a huge favorite. Yeah, and I wish I could be more confident, as confident as minus 350 would say on Mike Davis. I do think he wins this fight. I do think he's a better fighter everywhere in this fight. It's just, man, I've said it all the time on my show, like, betting on guys that are super inactive, it's tough, dude. Like, yes, I think he's a better fighter. Like, yes, he has a better wins, fought a better competition, and he's looked better overall on tape. It's just that he never fights, man. This is going to be like his third fight in 3 years. Whereas Natan Levy, man, we know for him, he has a karate stance. He likes to kick a lot. He got the sideways shell. Not really the much of a grappler here. I actually like the grappling from Natan Levy. It's kind of weird that he doesn't grapple more in his fights. And I think he would be smart to try to grapple in this fight because Mike Davis absolutely can crack. Very heavy hands, very powerful striker, whether it be from kicks or hands. I like the striking more from Mike Davis. I like the diversity in his strikes from Mike Davis. But Natan Levy is no bum, man. I've actually seen this guy in the gym hitting pads before, and man, let me tell you, he was cracking pads heavy. And he looked good, man. It was funny. This was before his Contender Series fight. We were in the gym, and yeah, dude, I remember just looking over like, holy fuck, this guy is. He was hitting with Jordan Levitt, and he was just cracking pads like really good. And I was like, well, man, who the hell's that? And then sure enough, he ended up being on Contender Series and went on, to the UFC from there. But I think Mike Davis, puts him out in this fight. I think he wins via knockout in that third round. One thing I will say, man, Natan Levy was just recently over in Israel, and they have like this crazy like war going on over there. I don't know too much about it, but it was crazy seeing him on IG because he was there like to train people for seminars, right? And he would be giving lessons, like cracking pads to people. And dude, like in behind him, just rockets would be flying, and then like alarms would go off. He'd be like looking at the camera, like, "Oh yeah, this is the Iron Dome. Like the Iron Dome's gonna shoot those rockets down, and we don't have to worry about it." And I was just like, "What the hell? This is how he's training before the fight. This is crazy." Super wild stuff. So I think it's the Palestinian and Israel conflict going on for him. So that's why he was doing that stuff. But yeah, man, absolutely wild stuff on his Instagram. You guys should check it out. Maybe he still has it up there. But yeah, dude, this guy was training hitting mitts with like rockets flying over him. And other rockets were intercepting him. So absolutely wild stuff. But I think Mike Davis wins the fight. Give me Mike Davis via finish in that third round. We've seen Natan Levy gas out before, and he's a pretty durable guy though. And yeah, man, inactivity from Mike Davis is really worrisome. But up next, man, we have a women's fight between Joseanne Nunez and Chelsea Chandler. Nunez comes in as a favorite at minus 145, while Chelsea Chandler comes in as an underdog at plus 120. Now, I'll tell you one thing, man. I will never bet on either one of these girls unless they're fighting like a dead body. Like I get someone has to be a favorite, but man, you won't see me like betting money on this fight or a fighter. For the pick though, and for the sake of the show, I'm going with Joseanne Nunez in this fight. It's so weird because Chelsea Chandler, I mean, she's bigger than a lot of her opponents, and that's really all that she has, man. I struggle to, come on here and talk bad about a fighter or, really downgrade anyone. But man, it's tough to look at her fight and to be like, okay, she's good at this, she's good at that, blah, blah, blah. I'll give her this, man. She is strong. If she does get you down and passes your guard into half guard or full guard or mounts you, like, she's strong. She has strong hips for sure. She is big. But that's really it. Like, she doesn't have really any submissions. Like, ground pound's okay. On the feet, she is slow. On the feet, it's very stiff. Her boxing is very stiff. She's trained with the Diaz brothers out there in Stockton, California. And Her striking defense isn't the best, man. I mean, it's actually good if you want to consider turning your back to your opponent and running around away, trying to run out the octagon defense. You can call that defense. So like, technically, I mean, she avoided strikes in that moment in her last fight. So, super embarrassing for Chelsea Chandler against Norma Dumont, having to turn her back and run away from your opponent there. But Josiane Nunes is like this tall, guy. She's like 3 feet tall with crazy long orangutan arms. It's actually crazy. She's going to be like 6 inches shorter than Chelsea Chandler, but only a 1 inch difference in reach. And that's the thing. Chelsea Chandler should be able to really win the clinch positions in this fight because she's so big. I feel like they're giving me a lot of cage pushing in this fight. But, bro, at distance, Nunes is going to pick apart Chelsea Chandler. I think the speed disadvantage here for advantage for Nunes is significant. I think that she's way faster and way quicker to the punch than Chandler. It's just the grappling, man. If she gets taken down, she's probably going to get held down in this fight and lose rounds from there. So it might be one of those fights where one takedown can secure the round for Chelsea Chandler, or if it's a 50-50 round, she gets the takedown lane and wins the round that way. I'm not going to be betting it. Give me Josiane Nunes to win this fight via decision. I'm surprised that line is getting as wide as it is. And up next, man, a banger, bro. We have Ode Osbourne versus Rafael Filho. Filho comes in as a favorite at -180, where Ode Osbourne comes in as the underdog at +150. Now, I actually like Ode Osbourne, man. He's let me down before. I went big on him in the fight against Tyson Nam. He got kneed into next year. Goes out there against Charles Johnson, looks like $1 million. And I really do like that performance because he was way more, I guess you could say, smart with his decision making. He wasn't throwing crazy heavy stuff. He wasn't throwing spinning head kicks, spinning body kicks. He was very precise, right? And then he actually utilized offensive grappling for the first time, really, in the UFC, and that was a really good thing to see from Ode. But I actually think that Filho is gonna win this fight, and I think he's gonna submit Ode Osbourne in this fight. We've seen Ode Osbourne give up his back on the way up, multiple times trying to get up from takedowns, and I think that Filho. The fact that he almost submitted Mokaev is absolutely crazy. And if it wasn't for Mokaev having a crazy mentality, like a freaking David Goggins Warriors mentality, he would have tapped, dude. I talk about all the time with my buddies, like, it's one thing to tap, right? Like, when you're getting submitted, all right, you tap out. But there's certain guys that will never tap, right? Like, they will just go unconscious, go to sleep. They didn't tap. They still lose. They'll just get their arms broken. They didn't tap. They still lose. That's Muhammad Mokaev, man. Muhammad Mokaev got his knee shredded, man. I'm sure when Fiala was pulling that knee bar, he was feeling pops. It's just that Mokaev, dude, wouldn't tap. So we could be sitting here talking about a guy that has a win over Muhammad Mokaev going against Ode Osbourne. If that were the case, I feel like this line would be a little bit wider. So I feel like we're getting a little bit of a discount. But, man, the speed on Ode Osbourne's strikes is legit, man. I actually really like the striking from Ode in this fight compared to Fiala's. But just the grappling and the jiu-jitsu from Filho should win this fight. I'm going with Filho to win via submission. We've seen Ode submitted before, man. That seems to be his weakness. Man, but I wouldn't be remiss to not let you guys know that Ode has legit speed on the feet, man. I will say, if you're someone out there that has a ticket on Filho and you see Ode Osbourne walking out with Dewey Cooper, you should start to fist pump and feel good because he seems to be the kiss of death for some of these fighters. So give me Filho to win this fight via submission. We'll go round 2. Up next is a banger, dude. Joshua Culibao versus Danny Silva. Culibao comes in at -180 on the money line. He's the favorite. He's taking on Danny Silva, who comes in at +145. Should be a really good fight. I'm going with Culibao in this fight just because I think that he has a little bit more of fight ending ability, where Danny Silva, we saw him on Contender Series, and he had a great fight, guys. The output in that fight was absolutely crazy. Those two dudes threw down, and I gotta say that we see it all the time, right? Like, I mean, Ange Lusa earlier on the card had a really good fight with Jack Della Maddalena on the Contender Series, and we saw Danny Silva, have a really good fight in the Contender Series, where usually that's kind of like a red flag. Like, you want your guy to go out there and kill someone on Dynamite Contender Series, to really make a stamp and prove that they're UFC worthy. Where Danny Silva went to, like, he almost lost. Like, he went to war in that fight. And proved that he's durable. I'll admit that he can definitely take a punch and keep coming forward with very good pressure. But Culibao has more experience at the UFC level, and I just think that he hits slightly harder, man. Danny Silva is, to me, pretty hittable on the feet, and so is Culibao. But at -175, I'm gonna go with the favorite here. I don't foresee myself laying on Danny Silva. But, man, I wouldn't be shocked to see if this guy comes out here, wins this fight and has a good UFC career. He's just too green, in my opinion, a little bit. I have my worries still. I'm just gonna watch as a fan. One of those fights where I'm gonna watch and then be able to take away from the fight and moving onward in his career. As using it as a data point for sure. But now, give me Culibao to win this fight. I think he wins via decision. And up next, 2 more fights left. We have Corey McKenna taking on Jacqueline Amorim. McKenna comes in at -130. Wow. Kind of surprised that line flipped. Jacqueline Amarin comes in at +110. So yeah, Amarin was actually the favorite for a quick minute, and then money's coming in on Corey McKenna. And a pretty good fight, man. For being a women's MMA fight, I'm actually really excited for this. We got two relatively young fighters in their careers. Jacqueline Amarin, jiu-jitsu ace, right? So she's a fighter that what worries me in this fight. She's okay off her back, right? So it's like if she gets taken down, she's not like, oh fuck, like let me get up, like my shoulders on the mat, like this can't happen. I need to get up. There's no real sense of urgency, like in that regard from her, because her submissions are so good, right? Like she can triangle you from bottom, she can armbar you, sweep you, and then pass you from there. So she's definitely like accepting position on her back, whereas McKenna is the superior wrestler in this fight, and that's what Corey McKenna is going to be wanting to do. She's going to be wanting to take down Jacqueline, and I worry that Jacqueline's going to be doing what Dustin Poirier did last week, not jumping gilly, but just putting herself on back and looking for submissions from there, and then losing minutes that way, and then sure enough losing the fight that way. I do worry that happens, but man, Jacqueline Amarin has like an 9-inch reach advantage in this fight. And for as much as I want to think that Corey McKenna, should be the better striker in this fight, I'm not so sure, man. We saw her against Elise Reed really struggle, and I'm not high on Elise Reed. So, man, Jacqueline Amarin, we've also seen her just straight up gassed in the fight where she straight up died in her UFC debut after the first round. It was absolutely crazy. One of the worst performances I've really seen in the UFC debut. And that's just like stuck in the back of my head, man. She looked so tired and just so gassed, and she was pulling guard, boot scooting. Like, it was just ugly, man. Whereas Corey McKenna is going to be going all 3 rounds hard here. She's going to be getting in her face. Another fight where I see, a lot of cage pushing, a lot of clinching in the warning track area. But I want to pick Jacqueline Amarin so bad here. I'm going Corey McKenna. To win this fight. I got to do it. The fact that she can utilize her grappling, like if anyone gets taken down, it's going to be Jacqueline. And if anyone pursues the takedowns, it's going to be Corey. And I think that she's going to have success. So on the feet, it's actually 50-50. I do wonder how she's going to deal with that huge disadvantage, man. The striking from Jacqueline isn't the best. She's not as polished as you'd like to be. But give me Corey McKenna to win this fight. Should be a really good fight. And I'm super excited to see how these young fighters, match up. I'm going Corey McKenna decision. And in the first fight of the night, we have Chad Allinger taking on wow, I can't even say this dude's name. I'm just gonna go with Giorgio. I'm pretty sure this guy is Greek. I can't say his first name. I'm not gonna even try. Chad Allinger taking on Giorgio. It's his last name. Allinger, actually, the UFC favorite, UFC veteran as the underdog at +135. Giorgio, the favorite, making his UFC debut at 165. And yeah, man, I like this Giorgio guy. He seems to be a very good athlete, superior athlete. A lot of physical traits on this guy. Those heavy hands definitely can crack you and then keep you down. As far as the grappling, I haven't seen too much from him. Whereas Chad Allinger, man, I've seen him way more in the UFC. A fight where we have a debutant taking on a guy with much more UFC experience. This is one of the fights that I have, relatively low read, you could say, or not a confident read. I'm going with the underdog, Chad Allinger, in this fight, but I'm not like confident at all. I'm not rushing to the window to bet on the underdog here in this fight. I just have a feeling that he's gonna be able to withstand that early tidal wave in that first round and come on strong in that second and third round. Yeah, this guy's coming off, making his UFC debut against a guy that has a ton of UFC experience. So I think the striking exchange is going to be close. I don't foresee Giorgio just out here dusting Chad in that very first round, clipping him bad. That's what he is going to want to do, but I don't foresee it happening. I think that Chad loses that first round and then wins the second and third on his way to win a decision. So maybe if you're going to bet the underdog, maybe live bet him after the first round. Or, if he does win that first round, you probably would have wished he would have took it pre-fight. So, yeah, that'll do it, guys. 13 fights on this card. Went kind of quick today. I'm going out of town this weekend and next week, so it's going to be a little busy around Any Action Sportscast. But, man, I'm going to snap out of it, guys. I know I'm going to win money this week on UFC. We have to do it eventually, guys. I'm going to bounce out of it. I have good, vibes going into this week. So, thanks so much for watching, guys. I appreciate it. And at this point, you should be watching my videos to see who not to bet on. So, I really appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.